Yield as much time as he may consume to the sponsor of the legislation, Councilman Schrader, who did a magnificent job of a collaborative effort of community and agencies in bringing this legislation forth.
Gentleman from Oregon is recognized for as much time as he may consume.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to testify on this bill. It's really tremendously exciting to the good citizens of Molalla and Clackamas County in Oregon that we have this bill here to vote on today. Sorry to have some of the discussion we've been hearing so far. It's basically irrelevant to the bill. The idea here is to designate the Molalla River as a recreation river under the Wild Scenic Rivers Act that was initiated by a small gathering of folks a few years ago, local river stewards, Molalla residents who were looking to preserve and protect their river and they aid their economy by increasing tourism. They came to me early this year with the idea, our team liked it, and we introduced the bill. It immediately garnered major support in the Molalla and Clackamas County. And as of now, this bill is supported by the City of Molalla, the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, and over 40 Oregon-based environmental, recreation, and public safety groups who all recognize the social, economic, and cultural benefits of this bill. In particular, I want to personally thank the many people who work so tirelessly on this bill. This includes the President of the Molalla River Alliance, Mike Moody, the Mayor of Molalla, Mike Clark, Molalla City Manager John Atkins, Police Chief Jerry Geiger, Executive Director of the Molalla River Watch Kay Patterson, and President of the Molalla Community Planning Organization Jim Gilbert, and frankly Oregon river enthusiasts like Kavita Hen and Eric Fernandez. I also want to personally acknowledge Ryan Morgan, lifelong Molalla resident, member of the Molalla City Council, who tragically died earlier this year. Ryan was a river enthusiast and a strong supporter of this legislation. I'd like to think he's looking down on us right now with pride over the vote and this particular piece of legislation that he worked so hard to get on the House floor. Mr. Speaker, the Molalla River is a national treasure in my state. Historically, it served as both a trail for indigenous Molalla Indians and a trade route between pioneers in the Willamette Valley and residents in eastern Oregon. Its Table Rock Trail, which is known as the Huckleberry Trail, was used by members of the Warm Springs tribe in search of huckleberry and salmon picking areas in the early days. Early settlers used its fertile lands and drinking water for homesteading, and its Ogle Mountain mine attracted migrants during the gold rush. Today, the Molalla River is known for its many recreational purposes, including hiking, diving, fishing, kayaking, whitewater rafting, picnicking, mountain biking, and horseback riding. It's also nationally recognized for its beautiful and scenic wildlife. It provides spawning beds for threatened steelhead trout and Chinook salmon, and is essential wildlife area for the pileated woodpecker, red tree vole, red-legged frog, northern spotted owl, Pacific giant salamander, and both golden and bald eagles. Designating the Molalla River as recreational in the National Wild and Scenic Rivers System would have tremendous economic, cultural, and environmental benefits for the region. Economically, we need jobs. It would attract more tourism, create tons of new jobs in a very, very difficult environment in Molalla, something the state of Oregon desperately needs in its rural communities. Environmentally, it would protect the character of the river, preserving it so future generations can recognize its rich cultural, historical, and social and economic benefits. I want to thank Chair Rahal, Subcommittee Chair Grijalva for their support and efforts on this bill. I also want to thank their staff, particularly Leslie Duncan, for all their hard work. Just a final comment before I yield, if I may. A lot of focus has been around the comments the gentleman from Arizona referenced that I made in committee. My goal there as a friend of the timber industry, lifelong friend of the timber industry, particularly in my legislative arena, was to make sure that if there was impact on logging in this area, in my county and my state, so desperately in need of economic energy, that we'd investigate that. The committee, I appreciate the work they've done, and I and my office checked into whether or not these matrix lands were going to impact the timber harvest or any of the land in that area. And I'm pleased to report back, as has been reported, that the BLM has told us again and again there are no timber sales in that area, and there have never been any timber sales planned in that area. So I guess I'm a little concerned that as I step up and try and make sure that the concerns of the gentleman from Arizona are addressed, and we bring this topic up, which I hope will bring up in any of the legislation that comes from his state and other states, that it seems like it's turned against one. I don't feel in any way have I changed my view on the need to make sure that if there's an issue, we have offsetting lands for harvest if it's going to affect local communities. But no private landowner, I want to make this very clear, no private landowner in this area, including Weyerhaeuser, including some of the big timber companies and the small woodlot owners, is objecting to this bill. And I go to the gentleman from Arizona's earlier comments that if this is a bill brought forward by a member who represents the state and more particularly represents the local district in which this wild and scenic river designation is to be had, that generally he votes in favor of these things. So I'd ask him politely to consider changing his viewpoint and voting for the bill, since a member has done the work that he asked to do in the first place.
Gentleman yield?
I will yield.
Good. I thank very much the gentleman yield, and as I mentioned in my opening statement, I'm very sensitive to members of Congress who have projects or issues within their district to be able to do it.